Something about that guy's tone of voice I don't like.
We'll kick it off now. So I'm here with Josh. Josh, how have you been, man? You've been very busy. You've been very, very busy since we last spoke at Chermside. So I don't know if you want to go full in detail about what you've been up to and your plans with everything, but what's been keeping yourself busy lately?
Easy, man. Ever since all the interesting times of lockdown and everything, I've kind of just play what's in front. So I was in Victoria managing a fitness club for a couple months, and then thanks to a lockdown, it shut for 5 days. But even when it relaxed, it was the whole gym was shut for 4 weeks. I'm like, oh, I do video work, lucky. Yep. So I'm just like, I'm just going to launch it. I'm going to start my own business, which I have now. And then I shot a wedding up North Queensland, come back for another business video here in Brisbane, and then lockdown. So it was restrictions to travel back to Victoria. I had the home quarantine, so I didn't travel back. And then I was going to leave for there this week, and now it's lockdown there. Jesus. So I'm just like, yeah, man. What? But lucky, like I said, I do video work. I'm launching my own business, or / launched in the process now. And I've got my camera, I got my laptop, and I'm just happy I'm one of those. I feel sorry for people who can't just work. It
does make, because I was thinking about this the other day, and because please correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that you're kind of doing your business is very unique in the sense that you live in Victoria, right?
Yep.
You were doing some stuff in Bowen and then Townsville, correct?
Yep.
So you could have gone up there and you could have gotten businesses at the Whit Sundays. You're in Brisbane at the moment, you're gathering businesses here. Then when you go back to Victoria, you're getting business in Victoria. That's a very unique strategy. I don't know if you're actually wanting to do that or that's what you've been meaning to do. That's a cool way of getting a clientele basically across the east coast of Australia.
Yeah, well, you do videos and stuff too, man, and pictures, all that sort of, it's become, for me, it's referrals anyway. I build I don't even know where I read it because I read books, if you want to talk about that later.
Yeah, no, I do want to talk about it, yes.
But it's really about when you do a job that's decent, you get some raving fans and they just refer you onto other people. And then that's pretty much all I'm doing, because I've got heaps of family up North Queensland, and even the wedding videos I've shot maybe 16 or so now. It's because they saw the last video I did, or they're friends with the people who got their wedding filmed by me, or it's a cousin or a friend or a family member. And all the business videos, which is my business, is more corporate videos, and it's about business stuff. But even that, it's comes from people I've worked with in the past, just saying, "Hey, this is the dude." And I shot with Brandon the other day. I'm happy to talk about that too. But I did a podcast with him, and it's just about relationships. And now I've just got to keep building them in Victoria. And I'm just a bit upset I can't get around more. I'd love to just social media or in person talk to everyone. I'll door knock.
Yeah, no. Honestly, word of mouth is the best form of marketing, in my opinion. I've gotten so much business myself just from creating content and sharing stuff online and just people sharing it. And I feel like the share button on Facebook alone has gotten me so much business. Like I was saying to you before, things are a little bit weird with COVID at the moment because what date is this? We're shooting this on the 23rd of August. And at the moment there's a bit of a weird thing going on. There's I think there was 818 cases of COVID in New South Wales today. We had one local acquired case, but it was already in quarantine, so thank God. And Victoria obviously isn't the best. So things are in Queensland are okay. So I feel and that's why I sent you a message yesterday. I'm let's do it now before you go away, because we don't know when you'll come back.
While we're allowed.
yes, while we're allowed, yeah. Because lockdown was because it was so funny when you and I caught up and when we went to Starbucks at Chermside. Because the next day they're yep, lockdown. Yeah. And I was because I started to panic because I had to go up to I haven't really told you what happened. So you and I caught up for coffee, and I was supposed to go away to Collinsville because I needed to do some pickup shots for a project I was doing. And lockdown just got extended. I think it got extended once, and then I really started to panic because I really didn't know if I could fly out or not. And I spoke to so many people from Queensland Health, Jetstar, so many people just to see, am I actually able to fly out out of Brisbane? And the way they described it was, if you can't do your job from home, you can travel. And I was that sounds like a real risk, because I really do you actually consider us essential?
I'll tell you. Well, that's the funny thing is that being in the health and fitness world for years, I started PTing over 10 years ago. I did my cert when I was at school, man. It's just funny that it's such a care about health, and I don't want to get too much into it because you might get banned on social media. But it's a bit gyms and fitness and being healthy not essential, and then yet other things are essential, like let's just say bottle shops. And I understand that, but even Victoria gyms were shut, but brothels were open, and I was just like,
Oh, were they?
yeah, this is not. It could be like touch wood, like stuff like this doesn't happen. But I mean, literally pubs, like other things were allowed to open, but the fitness clubs, there wasn't a case for like a whole year, and they had to shut. And I was just like, for me, I pivoted out of it, but I just really feel for business owners, not just the ones I worked for, but anyone who has all that sort of let's just call them businesses that are also bills and everything just building up and they can't open. I'm just, I have no idea what's going on. So I don't know what's essential. Ask the government.
Yeah, I really haven't shared my opinion in regards to COVID, the vaccine, and everything, because I feel like you share anything online, it's gonna get like backlash, like depending on what your opinion is. Like full transparency, like I believe COVID's real. I think it's a thing. I'm getting the vaccine. It is what it is. Like and there's people who, and I've spoken to a few people about this. I feel like the people who don't believe in it and are against it the most are the people who speak about it the most. Like I'm for it, everything that's going on, but I'm not sharing my opinion. It's just like it's such a weird fucking thing.
Yeah, it's just anything. Like I said, that's why I said I won't dive in. But it's usually just gonna be when you say one point, people be on your side, people against you. It doesn't matter. That's just life.
Yeah,
I feel that's anything, because I'm a fitness trainer again. I'm very like, it's all about what you do in your head. It's really easy to get skinny. Yep. Eat less shit, train more. It's why they're not doing it. And then obviously those foods are this, and then it's keto for some, and then it's carnivore, and then there's vegan. Like it's all. I get it. Yeah, I understand. There's so many different POVs.
Yeah, no, it's like it's weird. But I did see that because I've been watching your stuff for years, by the way, and like I saw back in. You're probably doing it before, but in 2016, you were doing some videos in a gym, and you were running a gym in Bowen. Like, what was the story with that? Like creating a business, like a PT business in Bowen. What's the story with that? Yeah,
bro. So that's actually the only reason I even picked up the camera properly in the first place. My partner, she was a pharmacist. She's actually in med school now, but this is like 7-8 years ago, maybe. She had to finish her internship, so she was finishing up North Queensland. So it's a whole year where she worked at a chemist for her last year of uni, kind of thing. And then there was a couple of gyms in town, but they were really small. One was like a fitness club, more aerobics. The other one was a gym, but I was a PT for ages, and I wanted to really work out and train people and coach people because I focused on weight loss. And to be honest, all the client base, I had my own niche that in particular helped. They had to lose, let's say, 20 plus kilos. A lot of people like that category, I'm not judging them, just from my work experience, didn't feel comfortable necessarily always going to a bigger gym. So I just started my own at my nan's shed, and then I eventually went to a shed and rented another one when I had a big enough client base. Did some group fitness at a park, then I could move it all indoors because the shed was big enough. And then when I rented a place or leased it, I wanted to make it look more professional. And then I was like, oh, how can I do that? So I borrowed my dad's camera. He had like a Canon, maybe 700D. And I was like, oh, this is how you take pictures. And then, I actually did one video that went semi-viral back in the day, maybe had 3,000 or 4,000 views. For me, who's never done anything, I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. It was a short video about the scale doesn't matter. Yeah. But so many people shared it. And I pretty much, can I tell you what it was about?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So I skateboarded to the gym. I did a 10-minute workout, skateboarded back. And then I weighed myself before and after that, and I'd lost like 3 kilos. And then I sculled a couple of bottles of water, and then I put on some kilos again. And I was like, see, the scale doesn't matter. And that's all I did.
That's actually really interesting.
And then so many people liked it, shared it, commented, replied, and it was silly. And then I was like, man, I want to do this, and I want to make it, more helpful to people. But then I want to make my club that I was running, because I had about 60 client base with just myself. It's like I wanted to make it look more professional, so I just kept watching YouTube tutorials and decided to vlog. Yep. And then to keep me accountable, and that's it. And then from now I just do videos.
and you did daily vlogging as well. It was daily vlogging, right?
Do you remember a Casey Neistat?
I was going to mention your videos had like a very Casey Neistat vibe to it, but it's such a unique form of videography that I think it's cool what you were doing.
Well, he was the dude at the time. I actually caught him pretty early. I started watching his vlogs. I'm probably one of his first episodes. But then I like how he does it every day. And he didn't let, there's a quote, don't let perfect be the enemy of good enough. And he had to just post every day. And I was like, that's actually a cool way to do it. Because if you're a perfectionist like myself sometimes with different things, you would never share it. And you'd probably do one a year. Yeah. So I was like, I'll just vlog every day. And I didn't really care because it was it wasn't my job. Fitness coaching was my job. And that's where all my money came from. I'm like, okay, sweet. I'm just going to post every day. And then when I got to about 100 something episodes, I started to post every second day because I tried to do some more cinematic ones when we traveled over in Asia and stuff. And but then I did at least maybe 150, 200 vlogs just to try and keep me accountable, man. And I was like, I'm going to post. And then, it worked. I got better.
Did you like throughout the 150 days of like just vlogging, did you feel like a fatigue or a burnout at all from doing it? Like, was it on your mind to like, okay, like you could be watching a movie or something with your girlfriend and on your mind it's like, oh shit, I need to edit this vlog. Was that on your mind at all at any point?
No. But I used to play football and where I moved to Sydney for a few years and played properly where they paid you some money and everything. And that's kind of how you do that stuff as well. So I was used to it. And I retired from footy that year and I was like, I'm not playing anymore. So I had to do something in my off hours after work. So yeah, it was a bit like that. But at the same time, my partner, she'd probably say I'm like, I don't know, just obsessed with things anyway. So it was pretty normal. She'd always tease me.
So how did that transition from you just wanting to do it as like, okay, well, I'll just do it in my off hours to you wanting to make it into like a fully fledged business? Like what was the transitioning period from that? Because it was a couple of years from you doing like vlogging back in 2016 to like now trying to launch a business. Like, was it just like the hobby continued to grow and the passion continued to grow? Or
yeah, it's just like anything. As I did it more, I started to get a bit better. And then I even had inquiries for me to do videos for them because they'd seen some of my vlogs. And one of my vlogs fluked, it had over 100,000 views.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, some Thailand scam. And then a couple travel looking ones got about 60,000 or 70,000 views on Facebook. So then people reached out to me. Okay, hey, can you do a business video for us? I'm like, nah. Until one of my good buddies asked me to do a wedding. I was like, man, can I be a groomsman? But I got asked to do a video and he even just helped me pay for rentals. I almost did it pretty much free. I was just like, yeah. And then I did a wedding video and then all of a sudden that got about 4,000 views. And then I was like, okay, this could be a decent side hobby doing some wedding videos. And then, like I said, one led to another. I even got a full-time job offer, which I took up for about a year and a half, 2 years.
Was that here in Brisbane?
In Brisbane, yeah, with really good mates who I met by accident. Rana was one of the co-founders and Andrew was the other. And geez, that was like one of the best, I'd say, best jobs I've ever had because I got to do videos where I helped them build an online course, their training program, and even their social media content. But I got to see them run a bigger business when I got to be friends with the CEOs or the founders. That was such a good experience for me. And that's where I really got into it because it was a job and I just had to make videos.
So was that your only, because you're doing stuff in the gym, were you doing PT stuff as well or purely just video?
That's when I jumped to purely just video. Okay. And then I had to travel. We did a bit more travel, everything. And then later on, I went back into the fitness world because I got a bit sick and I took some time out. And it's because I knew what I was doing. And you know this as well. Within the video world, having a salary job is one thing, but when you go freelancing or say a contractor, it's a hit or miss. You have to learn about business and stuff too, because it's not a guaranteed like, your pay clears on Wednesday or Thursday in your bank account. You kind of like, how many jobs can I get this month? Yeah. And then you might get 1 week where you have like, say you get thousands in the bank and then you're like, oh shit, but then you might not have a project for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of be really smart that way. And then I did jump back. I was even helping a big franchise, Tommy Guns, there, just like with their training course, internal training program for 6 months or so. And then when we moved to Victoria, I'm like, yep, I'll manage a club. And now, thanks to lockdown and everything, I'm just like, I'm going hardcore. That's it. I'm not going to dazzle here and there and I'm just going to go hardcore video. Yeah. So I'm launching my business properly now.
Yeah. So like, do you see the business currently still in like the freelance format at the moment? Or are you really trying to like, things like drift off on the side to actually grow the business as a whole?
Yeah, so I'm definitely going the business structure now. So I'm not going to get too attached to, even with me, I learned this from books like I've read about having systems in place. It's you document how you do it, and I even screen record my steps when I edit, etc. And the shoot I did on Friday, it's one of the first ones under the structure and the strategy I'm doing, whereas we did a pre-planning thing where we did a strategy session. We jotted down all the ideas. I used apps to kind of like storyboard the day, make a shoot list, a timetable, and then I'm recording how I do this when I screen record, when I edit. Okay. So I can have editors that I outsource to, and I'm just like, hey, do exactly this.
That's really interesting.
And then if I can get enough clients later on, obviously, 6 months, a year, 10 years, I don't care, but I can onboard people and then I'll just do the shooting and then move to a stage where you get second shooters that follow and shadow you or whatever, and they can just take it because I learnt from a book, The E-Myth, and a few others. Have you read that one?
No, I haven't. No.
So ones like that, it's pretty much like everyone says they own a business, but you don't have a business if it doesn't function without you. So it's my job. I'm a year off now, but in my 30s is to own a business. That's what I've always wanted to do. And then pretty much I want it to function without me. Because if not, to be honest, and with all due respect to sole traders, because I'm one of them, you know, everything like if it doesn't function without me, it's just a job. Yeah. Because without me, there's no money coming in. Whereas I'd rather be a business owner one day. And that's just my big goals. Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
That's really interesting you say that, especially with freelance. Like I've noticed like an influx of not just necessarily like media companies, just freelancers as a whole. Because I've had 2 friends, I won't mention their names, but they were videographers for their business, the business that they were working for. They got made redundant and like they've just like fully gone into freelance and they love it. And it kind of makes me look at like people who are videographers for actual bigger companies. And this is like no respect for people who you're going to hire, but like being a freelancer, yeah, it can suck. Like it can really suck at times, but like when you have wins, like the wins can be huge. And like you're saying, like you can earn thousands one week and then the next week you'll earn pennies. But like, in my opinion, I think it's worth the struggle of trying to grow something bigger than you and like go through the struggle of I may not make that much, but like I'm going to do something that makes me happy. Yeah. And there are people who like I see who are so fucking talented. Like there's a guy named Connor. He's a videographer, and this is no offense to Connor or Design Media, but like there's a videographer in there named Connor. He's a videographer. Dude, if he went freelance, he would fucking kill it. Yeah. And I don't want to message him because you don't really want to message someone and just be like, why don't you just do it on your own? Like, because he's so talented. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so interesting that like videographers as a whole are coming out in a freelance formula as opposed to just like, you know, working for someone. Because let's be honest, being your own boss is kind of cool. Like, let's just be honest.
I'll stand up for Connor. I'll help him out. I understand. I understand why you do it though, because there's different personality types that will like, for example, they like to know how much money is coming in each week. So even when I did a videography job, I was on a salary, and with the other crew I worked with, I was on agreed hours that I would do work. So it's a guaranteed amount of income that coming that way, right? So we live in an age where people get, let's just say they get bills or something that are constant, like rent. Okay, that's one a lot of people have to, unless you live with your parents, which is I'm jealous of.
Same.
Yeah, I'm staying at my dad's house now, so I'm laughing. I said, I wish I lived back here, actually. But yeah, I pay rent in Victoria. I'm just like, damn it. But yeah, I just mean like when you have guaranteed expenses, whether it's a car loan or rent or food and all these other things you have to pay for, having that guaranteed income, 100%. Like
it's a sense of security.
Yeah, if that's what they want though, then they can focus their creative work on other things. That's probably why they do it. Whereas someone like me, one day, sounds really weird. Being a videographer isn't my goal. I love business. Like I love how they work, and I've just loved learning about business. That's my passion, and that's why I want to kind of go more freelance to business world one day. Yeah. But like I said, personalities are all different. I learned that in the fitness world.
Yeah. I feel like you and I are similar in that sense because at the moment, I love doing videography, like going out and creating videos and photos here and there as well. Like that's fun, but like at the end of the day, like I'm fascinated about business. I don't know a whole lot about it. You definitely 100% know a lot more than I do. But I'm fascinated about how like things run. And like there's a girl at the Gold Coast. I want to do a podcast with her. She just launched her own, I think it's like an activewear brand thing. But she just did a video of the warehouse, and I was like, that is sick. The fact that you obviously like going through the design process of like, okay, this is what the materials are going to be. This is what the logo is going to be, to the fact of like they're printed in a warehouse about to be distributed. Like I'm fascinated about that. And like, that's why like I actually see Zero Context going in the direction of getting those kinds of people like you and like this girl at the Gold Coast to come on and share like your structure of how you do things and like your wins, your losses and stuff like that. And it's just, I'm fascinated about it. Like, and I just wish I knew a little bit more about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like anything though. Like it's, it'll be like the video, because now that's where my money comes from, is video work, and business is kind of the hobby that I just read books about. I do online courses, which I've done a lot of, to learn about it. And then even when Grant Cardone and all those people like Gary Vee, everyone could come to Australia, I went to the boot camps because I wanted to learn, and then I realized that if I just learn off people who are doing it, I'm a big believer in the old saying, actions speak louder than words.
Yep.
I watch what people do, not what they say, to be honest. Yeah.
What was because it was a lunch with Grant Cardone, wasn't it?
Oh no, so I had the one where Gary V, you could just take the selfie and go to the crew at like a seminar. It was a whole heap of people, and Gary V, of course, was the best on it. That's why I got this hat. It's the video. It's just a reminder that I'm lazy.
Work harder.
But then I saw Grant Cardone on stage, and I thought his presentation kind of sucked. And I was
Really?
like, yeah,
Grant, okay.
this is being honest. But then because I paid for the expensive ticket, where you could sit at the front and you got to take a selfie. There was actually a lunchtime Q&A where Grant Cardone came out to the lunch crew where we were having lunch, and he did a question and answer with anyone there.
Was that part of the program, or he just decided to do it?
So that was when you paid for a more expensive ticket, because it was like $1,000 or something. And then you got to sit at the back, and then, man, Grant Cardone in the Q&A, when people from Aussie just asked him questions, I was like, man, I want more of this, because he told the truth. Like, if you're ugly, he kind of tells you. Like, it's a pro and a con. Like, I get it's a bit hard to take sometimes.
Yeah.
But this the business advice he gave, and that I was like, man, I'm paying. So he was holding a boot camp in Sydney for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, it cost maybe like $3.5, $4,000 or something. I was like, I'm going. I don't care. Like, I'm going.
And you felt like the value that you got from it was worth that price?
The Q&A, much better than presentation. Like his prezzo was
okay.
A lot of prezzos, not picking on Grant or anyone else at the seminars. It's usually, right, I'll tell you how they structure it.
Okay.
They'll get up there, they'll present. They'll tell you where they're from, usually, sometimes some sort of intro. It gives you a credibility. And the next part for me is always like, they'll identify a problem, which you probably have. Then they'll give you a solution. Then they'll give you a bigger problem. Whereas if you buy from them or you onboard,
I was just about to say, is there
it's
always like a sales tactic? Yeah.
There's a book or there's a webinar or there's something. Like I get it, because to be honest, like I'd probably do it one day.
It's Success Resources. That's the business, right?
I think that was the business, but I meant not even just them. Just every seminar you go to.
Okay.
I guarantee you, there's an upsell.
Okay.
Because usually that's what they are. That's why I loved Gary V's presentation. He got on stage, he's like, this is not a fucking sales pitch. I'm not selling anything. And then he just did a Q&A the whole time. So
he took his $100,000 and walked away.
Exactly. He was famous enough. He gets his money from other things. And I was like, Gary had the best prezzo. And Grant's was okay. But even when Grant did a question and answer, I just really like those more than presentations.
So out of like the Q&A that he did, like Grant did, like what do you think was the best advice that he gave?
I'll probably talk about the bootcamp one I went to in Sydney was good too.
Yeah.
It just made me realize that the old saying goes, you're an average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And it was, his was more about money, because that's all Grant talks about. It's a lot about money.
Seems to be all he talks about, really.
Money and health. And it's when you find your niche, it's just kind of people's issues. They relate to it. But he just made me think of things. He kind of said something like, who's got $10,000 in your bank account? And you put up your hand, and if you don't, he goes, spend it, like you're fucking broke. He kind of just tells you to your face, and he's like, why don't you have 100? Like, and it sounds really vicious, but I'm like, yeah, true. Like someone else, I grow up in an area or a family or a situation where $10,000's a lot of money, and out of respect, I get it. It is a lot of money for a lot of us, but just to see a different level, like it was a really good that way.
Yeah.
Just to say, $10,000's nothing, man. Like I don't care about it. And I was like, okay, so how do I get 100? And that's what I mean. So even with them, there was a goal to save up to get 100K to invest in something later on, little things like that. It was just a different point of view, and to be more real and stand out. That's what stood out to me the most, man, is that my point of view isn't the only point of view.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've actually bought the ticket for I think it was the last one, the 2019 Success Resources.
Yeah.
I bought the ticket and I was going to go to it, but I had to go up north to, because I was like really into Gary Vee at that point, because I was really excited to see it. But like literally the day of that event, I had to go up north because I was doing some filming stuff up there. But like, yeah, I've been into Gary for a while now, and like, I feel like Grant's a bit of a hit and miss for me personally, because like he's got such a like controversial like enigma online. Like people either love him or they hate him.
Yeah.
And I think it's specifically for that reason of like, you can either take his advice, which it may hurt your fucking feelings, but like it's the truth. And like what was the quote that you just said? You're the average of the 5 people you hang around with. The similar saying that I like is that your network is your net worth.
Okay, yeah.
Who you accumulate and who you hang out with, you're probably going to adapt some traits from them. And like, that's what I love about you, for example. Like, that's why I want this whole podcast to be about people who are like driven and like motivated to do stuff. And I think that's really, I wouldn't mind seeing Grant live.
Yeah.
But I definitely want to see Gary at one point.
Yeah, like I said, even the biggest point of view, the biggest takeaway is about point of view. I learned from him and everyone who's richer than me that I've worked along, because I work along people who have way more money than I've had ever. And then been to things like Grant Cardone where there's millionaires all just around you. And then it's, I just getting a different point of view, and even reading Stoic books. I've read a lot of Stoicism about Ryan Holiday stuff. It just really goes, it's an eye opener that everything I see is pretty narrow sometimes. So just have it relax and think about it. It could be other ways. And that was the biggest takeaway from that. Now I try to put into life everywhere else, Yeah, for sure, bro.
And so like with the business structure, do you have like a game plan, like a 5-10 year plan for the business that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it'll just be onboarding X amount of clients, say for a whole year. And then from there, I'll just outsource a lot of the edits, because I'm not big enough already, and I won't be to pay for shooters to shoot for me yet. But I'm pretty much going to onboard X amount of clients till you get revenue that's at a particular level before you can kind of spend it.
Yep.
Because it's like anything, like we said before, there's no guaranteed income unless you start to do 6, 12-month agreements with people. And how many clients do you need on to get, say, to your number? Let's just say it's 500K or whatever it is, or $1 million. How many clients will it be? At what fee and what service will they get? You just kind of got to build up that way.
Yeah. And
sure.
And I think it's, because I was thinking about this when you first rocked up. I think you and I, we're in the same field, but you and I run two completely separate businesses. And like the chat that you and I had a few weeks ago, or I don't know if it's like a month or two ago, like I took a few things away, and it kind of like made me think about what I do as a business, because like that 1 hour and a half, 2 hour chat that we had, like really made me realize I was doing so many things wrong with my business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it did, man. And
I hope that's not a bad thing.
No,
was it
no.
okay? Yeah.
If anything, and I'll be totally honest, it's made me realize that I'm undercharging like a motherfucker. Like I've done, like I was saying to you before, like there are some people I do videos for, like that are so cheap. And I talk about this so much, but I shot this video for Jamie Oliver's restaurant here in Brisbane. Long story short, that was a victim of COVID. It's not there anymore, which is a shame. But I did shoot this video. It was like a, it's not Sam Calder. I can't remember his name, but it's a videographer who he does really like unique like transitions that go like each shot will transition into the next.
Oh, like Rory Kramer? Nah.
I haven't heard of that one.
Not Kramer. Yeah,
I can't remember.
But keep going. Yeah.
If I can find the name, I'll pop it up in the video version. But I shot this video and it was like cool transition, and it was a clean video. And and when I released that, my mom said like that was the best thing you've ever fucking made, and I was like, sweet. Someone actually, and for pure context, that I got paid $300 for that video. Someone asked my mum when she saw it, she was like, "Oh, Sam must have been paid like thousands for it," and she was like, "No, he's only paid like this amount." And when she told me that really made me think. And like some of the things that you were talking about, like it's such a funny thing, like this whole industry, because like it really determines like how good you think you are and how much you should be paid. How much you should be paid for the services you provide. Like $300 these days, like in my personal opinion, $300. You're going to get a $300 video. Like it's not going to be that great, as opposed to like a $3.5-5 grand video, which I've done in the past. Like that's obviously going to be a lot more dedicated. That's months worth of time in my opinion. But it's just made me think about what you do as a business. Yeah,
no, I get you. And I'll even, if anyone watches our chat or listens, I'll give some value what I learned. Like I said, I work with people who their businesses are like, 7-8 figures, like big businesses, right? It's really, when you in the video world, there's different stages, I think, where, like when I vlogged, when I did all that stuff and travel videos that got heaps of views, I did them for free. Like, you know what I mean? And then that was the next stage where I did them kind of cheap, because I didn't really know about the whole money and the business side or anything. But when I got to a certain level of like, okay, my stuff's good enough in my head, how you measure it, I don't know. But it was really, it turned from how much do I charge to when I have my business chat, it's more like so how much are you looking to invest into this? When we have the chat, we go through all the stuff like what video do you want? If it's a case study, if it's a testimonial, a mission statement, whatever. Okay, we go, okay, the chat then goes to, so how much are you looking to invest into the video? So what I would say, I usually just go, yeah, no worries. The videos I do, they can range from, let's just say $3,000 to $30,000. Or if that's your bracket, you know what I mean? And then you just say, they go, oh, if they don't have a budget, I usually go, oh, okay, so 30,000. And then I go, oh, it's not that much. And it's like, so we do have a budget. Yeah, so there is one, right? Okay, so it's not 30.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it?
Okay.
And then just hold your breath and wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, that was more of a selling sort of side and the business side of things. And then once they have a budget, because they do, because otherwise they're not running a business,
Yeah.
then we just figure out what we can actually do with that budget. So whether I get a second shooter for the job or I have to rent gear, etc., how many days can it be for? How long will the video take to edit? You know, and do I have to pay editors for a whole day or a whole week? You know, like how long's the turnaround? You can figure it off once you have the budget. For me as a video person,
Yeah.
then I just make it for them. So rather than having a fixed price, I found that was the best for me, because then I can help bigger businesses who want bigger projects, like building an online course or internal training program. But I can also just help, you know, someone who's a startup and they've only got X amount of dollars, and then there's a shorter thing. But I'm just honest with them, like I can't spend as much time.
Yeah.
But if this doesn't suit you, let me refer you to someone that can. Because like I said, there's different stages of the journey. And I'll just give it to a buddy who, in the video world, a lot of us know each other. Like I know you and you know someone else. And I'll just palm it off to someone who I know it's more in their bracket.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've done that. I've done that a lot, actually. Like if there's, this is back like when things were like boom, 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 booming. But like I've handed work off because I'm just like, that's not my thing. Like I'm not into that. Like no offense to the client, but like this other person may work a little bit better. But what you're saying about the budget, like that was one of the things you told me about, like, because I have been doing the fixed price bracket thing for years. And like, there was this one project I did in January, and the client, I gave them the price for the video, right? And this should have been a hint to me then, but like I gave them the price for the video. We did the video, but they wanted more stuff for it. And they said, hey, we want to do like another 30-second, could you do like 30 photos and we'll pay you this much more? That was the first time a client has actually said, hey, we'll pay you more to do more. Like clients and this is going to sound shitty, but some clients that I've worked with will just expect me to do so much more. So I've realized, okay, these guys have a budget. And it was like that. It was like, I gave them the 30 photos, the 30-second thing, and then they wanted more. And it was more money. So like, and then they actually said like, oh, we've got more in the budget to use. I'm like, that is so interesting, because let's say I go to a client and I say, hey, I can do this video for $750 when the budget's probably $2,000.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I learned always to say, what is the budget? Then just keep your mouth shut.
Yes, exactly.
Don't talk, say I can do it for this much.
Yeah.
Because it's like anything though. We might be impulse to do it, but just hold your tongue.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Well, the client themselves, like if they've got a $2,000-3,000 budget, but you're saying $750, they're saving all that extra money. That's like, okay,
but then
cool.
also the other side, this is once again a different point of view. Sometimes if you're only charging $750 and their budget's $2,000, they might go find someone in their house or in their brain that's better, that charges more. Because even when it comes to budgets, let's just say it's $2,000, they might be able to pull out $3,000 or 2.5, or just a little bit more. And let's just say they found another videographer who's a bit more than you. And some people say price doesn't matter and everything, but a Ferrari doesn't cost the same as a second-hand crapola handed down from your parents or something.
I've used that. I've used that saying as well. Like when people say to me, like I'll give them the price and then they'll ask me to do less. And I'm like, do you want like the Ferrari or do you want the Toyota video? Like, what do you want? Like, let's be honest. What do you want?
Yeah.
Like it's like that. And
so that's what I mean is if you only said $750 and their budget's $2,000, they might go, it's a bargain, or they might just go, let me find someone who's a bit better. So that's what I'm saying. There's always a think about it. So don't overthink it. I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to say, don't ever rush and impulse it too much.
Yeah. Real estate is like the complete opposite of that whole idea of they'll go find someone better. Like, and this is part of the reason why I love real estate and the clients that I work with, but it's definitely not something that I really want to dive down more. I've done it for 3 years. I kind of want to move away. And within the first 3 months of me doing real estate, there was, I'm not going to say the real estate agency, but there was the agency that I wanted to work with. I did like maybe 3 or 4 videos for them for like $300 over the course of a month. Now in their eyes, that was probably a lot of work that they were giving me, when in reality, actually wasn't a whole lot. But because I was near the whole industry, they were like, oh, we've given you so much work, can we do this? Sorry. So let's backtrack a bit. I'll jump ahead. They actually went behind my back and they used another videographer. And this is why my first hint that if they find someone cheaper, they'll go with cheaper. And long story short, the video was shit. It was terrible. I saw the guy who was the videographer and he uploaded it. I'm like, yeah, that's shit. No offense to the guy, but it was terrible. And the real estate called me the next day and they said, oh, hey, we went with another videographer. The video sucks. Can you come do the video? Like redo the video? I'm like, yeah, sure. But hey, by the way, we've given you so much work. Can you do it for free? Because they've already blown the budget on the other guy. And I was like, I was going to say no, but they said, we'll give you a heap of videos. We'll do a lot more videos in the future. I'm like,
yeah,
I'd love to get this in a contract, but I'll take your word for it. yeah, long story short, I never worked with them
That's the
ever again.
business side. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to give you a couple of books
Yeah.
to read.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
give you homework.
Please do.
Don't do that ever again.
Because you're into your books, man. Like I don't know if you saw. I've got a bookshelf out there, and I've got like business books, but I haven't touched maybe 80% of them. Like the ones that I'm reading at the moment, because I just started reading the 4-Hour Work Week.
Great book. Tim
Yeah,
Ferriss.
yeah. I've had it on my shelf for 2 years, and I haven't been able to read it. So that's What are your top recommendations books for business?
Oh, I was going to say it's all different. Maybe there's different books for different stages of your business. Like startups, for example, are different, and then 4-Hour Work Week's a lot about outsourcing and doing as little as you can and paying people to do it. That's kind of his whole idea of and then going overseas, and not being locked to a location. But then there's ones like Good to Great by Jim Collins, which is more like have the right people on the bus, where that's like a huge business. And then I like Principles, Ray Dalio. He's like a $20 billion
Jesus.
dude. And his fund's worth at least maybe 150 billion, like Bridgewater. So that's, I'm telling you, like there's different types of books. So what's like a business area you're interested in?
I like in terms of like what I like about business and what I'd like to read about, more or less probably how to structure business, how to actually like from the ground up, like the things. And I know it's different for different industries, but like, how do you go from nothing to something pretty reasonable, something pretty decent? Like, I'd love to know the process. And that's why I want to get people on, because I want to talk about how do they get from A to B, essentially.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's a book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
You mentioned that. Yeah, I was going to say you mentioned that before.
That is a huge book. Just to give you the idea of what a business is. He I might be wrong on the words, but he pretty much says there's a few different sections of a business. And he says like there's a visionary or an entrepreneur, he calls it. Then there's a manager, and then there's a technician. And then when you start up, you're all three of them. And then later on, unless you can outsource them and get other people to do different roles, as a technician, as a manager, entrepreneur is the one who comes up with the next idea. So the visionary person. That's why I said that. That's a really good book to get you going. And he talks about how McDonald's, etc. It's a business that can operate without the one person who started it. That's what Ray Kroc did when he went to the brothers who were the McDonald's brothers. And if you've seen the movie The Founder. Yeah, so in the book, this book came out before that movie, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but it pretty much talks about that story, how Ray Kroc came in, that dude, and he made it more of a scalable business.
Yep.
And even Ryan Sohant, he's a real estate dude. He vlogs heaps back in the day.
Yep.
In his book, Sell It Like Sohant, he talks about it too. I think he uses FKD. It sounds like the F word. But his is the finder, the keeper, the doer. So the finder is like you're finding the ideas and, like I said, dreaming more. And then the keeper is like keeping everything, and then doer is like the person who technician, like you got to do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a video. You got to hold the camera and do it.
Yeah.
And the manager is more like the sales and even looking after expenses, finance, and doing all the jobs. Is this project that's due X going to get done?
Okay.
Like that. And then the main visionary other person I was talking about, what next? Like, why just videos? Can we do pictures, or can we do a video course to teach how to make videos? Can we make multiple streams of income?
Yeah.
Can we scale it somehow? You know what I mean? Like so probably E-Myth is probably the best one.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. Yeah. Because that's one thing that I've been thinking about, like in regards to, I do videos and photos, what next? Because I don't want to do marketing, because I know that's a really random thing to say, but like marketing, I feel like everyone does marketing. Like there's businesses who like specifically do like just marketing, and then there's businesses who do videography, photos, and marketing. And I feel like the people who do like, I'm not going to name names, but like there are businesses who don't fucking do marketing well. Yeah. And I think they've got like, what's the Google certificate or Facebook? I feel like it's the Google certificate to basically say, hey, yeah, you can do marketing.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and because they've got that, they can run with it. But in reality, they actually don't know the first thing about marketing. And that's why I don't want to offer something that I don't know how to do.
True. That's good though. That's good for you. Don't ever do that. That's the whole point. Yeah. For me, it's only when you do business properly, I think people who can offer a solution or help someone or fix a problem that's there, that's who you pay money to. The real business people don't care that if they're going to fix the problem that costs them, 10 grand a year, they'll pay 10 grand. It's just like that. That's just an idea.
Yep.
If they're actually a problem solver, they don't care what they pay.
Okay.
As long as the value is over the cost. in business. I found that.
It's funny you mentioned the founder, because this is something that I've actually been wondering for a while. In the film, the founder, I can't remember the guy who actually speaks to Ray about it, but he was talking about like expanding McDonald's and how he's in the hospitality industry. But the guy basically said, you're not in the hospitality industry, you're in the real estate industry. That movie that movie was set in what, 19, I don't even
Forever
know.
ago. Yeah.
Do you think McDonald's is still in the real estate game, or are they like
Has to be
100% in the...
To be honest, they're a franchise. So franchise is a whole other world. I don't know because I'm not in the franchise, but all I mean is that I know what part you're talking about, where they actually buy the area and then the McDonald's is built on it. So they're making money over there. And long story short, a business like that's big, they then have leverage to loan against, and they can buy stuff that you and I couldn't dream of, like at the moment, because we're not a franchise. That's, there's, I don't even know how many McDonald's are in the world. Always Google. But that's the whole point is it's not just from the business they earn money. That's what I was talking about, multiple streams. Even when franchises open, they have things called franchise fees, etc. They have guidelines they have to follow. Then they have someone who makes that. Then they probably own property. They have investments. It's a whole other world, man. It's a different sport.
Yeah.
And I only know because I read books. I don't have a business degree or nothing. I just really like books, man.
Surely there'd be a book out there at the moment about McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
100%
I'd say so. Well, Ema talks about that side of it, more the business side, but how McDonald's function, I'm sure there would be one somewhere. But
just necessarily about like McDonald's and how it's like grew from like literally nothing to like how it is today. Surely there'd be a book that like specifically about that.
Yeah,
maybe there won't be.
All I know is that it's literally how that Ray Kroc came in and did it. Once again, the E-Myth book will talk about it. It's more about, instead of just being so attached, like being proud of their own business, the brothers. Ray Kroc didn't really care.
I was just about to ask, like,
he made it a system where you could hire people, and let's just say they don't do it, you fire them, you get the next one who can do what they're supposed to. Yeah, and it was a factory worker, and like Henry Ford, that whole the factories.
That's another movie I want to watch, is Ford vs Ferrari.
I haven't seen that movie.
I haven't seen it either. I really want to watch it, but I was going to ask you like what he did with McDonald's, like. It was shitty. Like, I actually really like the movie. It's not one of my favorites, but I enjoy it. But like what he did was like, it was so dirty, but like he made fucking McDonald's. It's insane to see. Like, it's like, cause was it one location in the film? I think they had one.
They had a couple of franchises that were a fail, but it turned out the one location where the brothers were perfect, because one brother like had a like OCD with about it, and then the other guy was, helping run the team. But the other franchise attempt they had in the past, it didn't work because they didn't have rules that they followed. And like I said,
they couldn't keep up the quality as well.
Yeah. And it's only because they didn't have the system. And that's one thing I learned, like I said, go back to video, is that I've learned that, man, as good as I think I am as an artist or a visionary or, being a creative videographer, X, Y, and Z, I learned it from somewhere. So in my head, if I can do it, someone else can. So what do I need to do, and what do I need to document so that I can teach my team to do it one day? And like I said, there might be an X factor that I may have. I don't, but I'm not. I just think I can be done again. The work I do, because I learned it from YouTube. That's my only cert I have in filmmaking.
Yeah. Well, that I still find that fascinating. That's what you're doing. Like even now, like you're recording. So what are you recording? Are you recording just the edits? Are you documenting? Hey, this is how I film. Hey, this is my style. These are the LUTs that I use.
Yeah, bit of both, bit of everything. So I use apps like Notion. I use apps like Evernote, and I screen record when I edit. So when I get all the files, how I sort them into different folders. Like one could be rushes, and one could be sequences for Premiere Pro. One could be audio, etc. Music in the background, and how I put them in folders. I'm just screen recording it. So like when someone on board and they say, "Where's this file? Where do I find it?" I was like, "Go watch this screen recording."
Okay.
And I link them, and I don't waste my time trying to teach them how to do it.
Well, at least you're future-proofing that as well.
That's what I'm saying. Or the other thing is, I can look at what I'm doing wrong, and I can go back and check it. So that double do, Blaze. It's a good man.
Yeah. One of the things, I don't know if like we specifically spoke about it, but like one of the things you're talking about before about how like you're never done with the video, and if you're ever like 100% happy, you'd only do one video a year. I think that's a big testament to what I was showing you before about like the video I did in September last year. Finished it in December, and I came back to it 8 months later. I'm like, this fucking sucks. Like, this is shit. Like, are there ever projects that you've worked on and you've released that you were like, even to this day, like, I could have done so much better?
All the time. It's called real life.
Well, that's what it is. Like, it honestly is. It's like, there's like every single thing that I've released, I could have done better. I don't think there is a single project that I've personally done that like I'm like, yep, cool. I don't want to touch that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy with that video.
Well, some of the vlogs I did only had like say 10 views, and 5 of them were probably me watching them over again. But some of them had 100,000 views. Like, you know, I just learned never to measure my success on views, etc., and even on how I feel about it. Because at the time, it was probably the best I could do.
Yeah.
And I had to learn it in sport because I played rugby league properly for quite a few years, and I just knew that when I was playing under 12s, I wasn't as good as under 15s. That's just kind of how I think about it. And yes, I dropped the ball when I could have scored a try then, but that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Like if I can move on. Like I'm a lot bigger now than I was then, etc. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, 100%, man. When I did my project up in May, I feel like I talk about this a lot. When I did my project up in May, man, like because I took up my FPV, my DJI FPV, and it was like I think it was the fourth flight, and I was like, I just took it out because I was bored, because I was waiting for things to finish up on my computer. And so I took it out to like the front of Mount Devlin, and I took it up and I snapped the propeller off. I needed that drone for a project the next day. So I go into panic mode, and like I had my second drone there, like my normal Mavic, which was fine. But like this shot, like this video off the FPV, just because like the dynamic shots you could have gotten, like it was a pain in the ass. And had I been in Brisbane, like it sounds expensive, but I bought a second one. Like I got the one that I broke repair, and I just bought a spare one just in case things go down again. But because I was in Collinsville, they don't just have like a fucking DJI FPV at the post office or something like that. So it's like that's the real inconvenience about the Whitsundays in the regional towns, unfortunately.
Yeah. But that's also the beauty. Like I said, I don't think I've said it yet, but I found that the biggest strength is in myself, because I do a lot of self-reflection to try to be better. Sometimes I found that the biggest strength is my biggest weakness. So that's the same as like towns and stuff. But I mean, for me, it's like learning. I'm really, I sound cocky. I don't want to sound ego. I can learn things pretty quickly. Like I can play instruments, I play sport, like I can do videos, like I try something because I don't care about failing. I just want to keep trying till I get a bit better. So my biggest strength is I can learn things pretty quickly and I can pick it up all right. But that's also my biggest weakness is sometimes I get too bored and I want to learn the next thing. Yeah. So I mean, like, so it's like anything. And like towns, you know, because it's beautiful, because it's so quiet and it's so away. I love Bowen because the beaches, you can go there, no one else is there. But then it's also sometimes like for us, the type of work we do, if our camera gear breaks, it's just because it's so far to get to. That's the only thing that's just annoying. But like I said, I love it and I'll always visit. Yeah. But I don't know if I'll ever live there again, only because of that, because what I do for a job. Yeah.
One of the videos that I watched, it was a vlog that you did, and it was kind of like your, it was, I think you did it up on a whiteboard.
Okay.
And it was your daily schedule.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, I think I saw a 3:30 wake up, do something by 4 o'clock, start training at 4:30. Now that was obviously back when you're doing your PT work. What's your daily schedule like at the moment? Your routine? Like, I can't imagine you're still getting up at 3:30.
No,
maybe you are.
In the PT world, my first client was always 5 a.m. because in the fitness coaching, you had to coach before work, before other people went to work, say a 9 to 5, and then the other peak hour was after work. Yep. So that's why I kind of had to have that schedule. These days, I'm still up pretty early. I like to watch sunrise.
Okay.
It's only when I do the really late night edits. But yeah, sunrise at least, 5:30 or 6. Get up, because then if I can just, get moving nice and early. We're doing a 60-day challenge with a few boys at the moment.
Okay.
So we're going to train an hour every day. If I just get up and then start moving, before you know it, you get a lot done by midday. Then I can kind of relax in the edit world compared to, say, if I did really late nights. When I stay up till about midnight or 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the, AM, then I just sleep in, and that's a bad pattern. So I try to get really early still. And if I can just get moving, whether I go to the gym or exercise or just do something straight away, and then I read nice and early, so I don't have that whole, don't have enough time excuse. Yeah. If I can tick like a couple boxes, because I bullet journal, if I can get them done early, I'm very happy. Then by midday, I can kind of relax a bit compared to before. But then again, once again, I'm a bit ADD, sort of without being diagnosed. I just want to do stuff usually.
How often are you doing late nights? Are they for like clients who like need videos like ASAP?
Yeah, that's just if I've missed deadlines or timeline. I haven't done it properly. You probably know about this.
Yeah.
Let's just say you have a deadline and, you have some clients. And even now I've got about 3 to 4 projects I'm editing. And it's usually about a month turnaround for the bigger ones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But it'll just be, like, let's just say it's up to the last day before that month's over. I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, I've got X, Y, and Z because I'm still doing my own business, been selling, doing X, Y, so many things. Now I've got to get the edits done. That's why I pull late nights sometimes.
Yeah.
But then it's just that just ruins my sleep pattern.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask, because that's the worst thing about doing late night edits, and then like you can't do the sunrise the next day. You can't do it, and just like completely, like your sleep schedule's fucked essentially.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
Yeah.
So with at the moment, like the way you're structuring the business and how you're doing things in the business, are you feeling the fatigue of like doing the sales, the editing, the filming, and like is it getting to you at all?
Yeah, no, but I've really learned from books and from people I follow and mentors is just to pretty much block up your times and do them in intervals. And even though I read a lot, I read in 20-minute blocks, and then I try and take 5-10 minutes to either take notes or write in Notion or something that what I just read about. If anything stood out, if it didn't, I'll just go back and read again. But I don't like to just, get there, because there's a flow state you can get into, and it takes a certain amount of time, etc. But I just realized, remember back at school when you were in high school, something you had periods? That's how I kind of do my day. So if I've got edits I've got to do, I'll spend 1 to 2 hours on that. Then I'll spend 1 to 2 on the business that I'm trying to start or trying to launch. Then I'm 1 to 2 on just going to the gym or doing something. And then I realize time blocking is such a key. And then I just make pretty much 3 things I have to do every day in a bullet journal where I scribble it down, and I just tick them. Yeah.
What I was going to say, because you just mentioned just then, what do you mean by flow state? What do you mean by flow state? Sorry.
So you probably know this when you edit. Sometimes, have you ever edited where you can't
writer's block?
Yeah, you get writer's block.
Yeah.
Right? So Seth Godin and a lot of other people talk about it. Cal Newport, a lot of people talk about flow state and stuff too. But it's pretty much writer's block's in your head. It's just, you can still do it. You just can't be bothered doing it. So flow state's pretty much like when you get momentum on something and you go so good, you just don't want to stop.
Yep.
So sometimes I realize I've been editing for maybe too long, which sounds ridiculous, but it's because I'm in the zone and I'm going well. That's when I'm just like, boom, I can just do what would usually take me a week. I feel like I can do it in 3 hours. So I just keep working,
Yep.
That's what I mean by flow state.
I actually didn't know, because I've called it flow state, but I didn't actually know that was an actual term. That's actually what people say. Because I told my girlfriend all the time, because I had writer's block about a week or 2 ago, because I had to put together an R&B video. And I sat there for an hour and a half, because I could not find the song. And I'm an editor that edits to music, and I could not find a good R&B style song within the confines of not being being copyright free.
Gotcha.
And it was I just found it really difficult. But once I found that the song, it was it's kind of like a snowball. It just feels better, and then it's just before
definitely.
you know it, the video's finished.
And there's real books. There's even a book called Flow.
Okay.
If you're going to find one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll probably, yeah.
I don't know if it's Carol Dweck. I think she wrote about grit or flow, but there's heaps, man. Just Google it. There's ones about it a lot. But yeah, I just realized you can do it in blocks though. That's one thing I found is that sometimes you're either on or you're off. And I just know you can't be in your flow state for 12 hours, or you can try be, but it's just like trying to sprint for that long as opposed to marathon and pacing yourself. That's kind of how I function. So
what helps you when you're in a state where you can't, you're just not feeling it? What do you do? Do you go for a walk, go for a run? Or?
Definitely. I read or I audio book a lot. Okay. And that's why I said I try and do it while doing cardio or something, especially now I'm doing a challenge with a few buddies. We're supposed to train every day. I just AirPods or even go for a little drive. Me and my partner used to do it a lot. We call it the dugong.
The dugong.
The dugong.
Oh, right.
In Queensland, there's a lot of dugong signs on the tourist drives.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So you want to go on the dugong? Yeah, sweet. And that just means a drive. But then listen to music or we talk or something. But that's just pretty much just to change what I'm thinking about. And then when I go back, I can look at it with a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah.
Because I just like anything, there's a thing called a honeymoon phase. I don't know about you and your partner, but when we started dating,
oh yeah, 100%.
So
I already know what you're about to talk about. Yeah, 100%.
It's so exciting, it's so new, it's so brand new, and then it's after a year, it's take
pretty
the trash out yourself,
yeah.
bro. But that's what I mean is that if I can change what I'm focusing on, then when I go back to the project, it's almost like I'm looking at it at a different day or something, even if it's the same day or with a fresh set of eyes. And if I can just get it, right, and I do it for long enough, I get in the zone. But all I know is that to do it, to get in that state, you have to put your phone on silent mode, night mode.
Flight mode, yeah.
And then there's even I use a lot, there's an app I put on Google Chrome called Newsfeed Eradicator. Have you heard about that?
No.
So if you go to facebook.com or other sites like that, you can block your newsfeed.
That's cool.
So instead of using the excuse, I've got to use Facebook for business, we'll put this on your page. So you can't look at your newsfeed. You can only go onto Facebook for your business.
Yeah.
So you can still search, everything else is there. But that's an app I've used maybe for 3-4 years at least. Because it blocks my feed.
Yep.
And then that's why I can't look at social media. I can't look at my phone and reply. Then what can I do other than stare at this project?
Yeah.
And if I time block it, give myself like an hour or maybe 90 minutes where that's all I can look at, then yeah, I usually get in it pretty easy.
I feel like I only have writer's block when I'm actually editing, like general editing. Like if I'm doing it like logos or I need to do some weird stuff in After Effects, like I'll just chuck on like I listen to a lot of Deadmau5, and some people make like Deadmau5 work mix. So it's just music you listen to while you work. And I'm fine with that. But when I do hit writer's block is usually when I'm trying to like structure like the best way to put things. And when I lived with my girlfriend's parents back a year ago, we I used to, because they had a huge backyard, like I'd go into the backyard, grab a tennis racket and just like bounce the ball on the grass and like just listen to music with phone in my pocket. I'd do that for 5-10 minutes, get back, and then I'm like, okay, cool. We're good to go from here. So
I've got a fidget spinner.
I've seen it. I was gonna say, what's the story with the fidget spinner?
It's in my pocket.
Can we see it? Can we bring it out? So what's the story? So I see it.
Much.
I see it like when you're playing pool and
so
stuff.
this is it. If the camera's on, I've had these things.
Can I have a look? Sorry.
Yeah, I've got the expensive ones with ball bearings, and they cost like $50-$60 as opposed
Got a bit of weight to it, actually.
Yeah, I don't get the plastic cheap ones.
I've got the plastic.
To be honest, there is some science behind why these things help people, but I just spin it because instead of getting bored and I'm so energetic I can't move around, I flick that and then it keeps me busy instead of because I have to sit at a computer. Like you know about the editing days. If I sit down for too long, I want to tap or want to move, I want to go somewhere, but I've got a project that needs to be done. Just spin, man.
Yeah.
And it just helps change my brain maybe. So who knows?
I got a fidget cube. I don't use it, but I've got one, and it's got like a PlayStation like toggle, and it's got like a flick and buttons and stuff.
So this is probably why I don't have 1 million Instagram followers, because all you see is this coffee and then books. But it's probably all I share on my story.
How much coffee do you have a day? I see you have a lot of coffee.
At least 2. Yeah, I'd say 2 easy.
Okay.
But, although I've been trying to have them after being awake for at least an hour.
Okay.
Then having it, then it kind of hits you a bit more. But I just really like coffee. You know,
I read an article. Well, I didn't read an article. I saw like a header for an article, and it actually said like if you have a coffee as soon as you wake up, it's actually not that good for you because it's like apparently your body hasn't naturally awoken or something.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know the science, but I've definitely found it better if I get up, I move, and I'll wait for an hour or so, and then I have a coffee. Because even when I PT'd, I'd train clients from about 5 till 6 or 7 o'clock. Then I'd have a quick break. I'd go to a coffee shop, come back. You know, like I've always done that little hour or so before my coffee. But then I have it. I just like it. Yeah.
I had a coffee for okay, so if I'm going to like the Rifles or something, I'll grab a caramel latte. But I won't make an instant coffee. And the caramel latte will be like that's my one thing, like my one coffee for the week, or if 2 weeks. But last week I actually started making like instant coffee again. The last time I had instant coffee was back when I was studying at uni. And like when I was studying at uni, I had to have like probably 7 coffees. I shit you not, man. Like it was bad. Yeah, because you had like deadlines and you leave everything to last minute because you're a uni student. And but what I did was last week I had like 5 coffees, but I was drinking coffee up until 9:30.
Oh, did you even sleep?
I think I was up until 3 o'clock. Alicia couldn't sleep either, but so we're just like laying in bed, tossing and turning, trying to sleep. But that's something that I realized was because I think it might have triggered something in my head was because I had coffee when I was younger in uni and I worked. When I had the coffee a week ago, I was doing a heap of like admin stuff, like sending out emails, invoices, and I think it like triggered something. It was like just go.
For me, I even have it without milk and everything. I actually just like coffee. I just have a double espresso and ice long black. Always one of those 2.
Have you ever had Boss coffee?
Boss?
Boss. It's literally called BOSSE.
Is it a takeaway or something? What is it?
Yeah, it's a can. It's a can. You can get it from Coles. The straight black coffee has like 5 calories in it. Yeah, so good, man.
Well, that's how I have a normal coffee. I just have literally a black coffee, and I'm getting to the nerd stage. If it's dark or if it's blonde, I can kind of tell the difference, but I can't tell you why they're good or not. I just tell you if it's shit.
I should have bought in Boss coffee. Next time you go into Coles, like they have them at service as well. Look out for it. Just Boss coffee. They're like $3.50 or something like that. But they're really, really good. They have like caramel latte as well. Yeah. Which even that's like 56 calories or something. So nothing too crazy. But like, yeah, like I like if I'm like feeling it, if I'm at this, I'm doing my grocery shopping, I'll just grab it. Because like that's my editing stuff. I'll do that when I'm doing editing. But like, yeah, other than that, like I have OxyShred. Have you heard of OxyShred?
Yeah, that like a pre-workout. Yeah.
Yes.
Or fat burner.
Fat burner, mood enhanced. So it's actually got a heap of stuff in it. And like we go through, because it's got 60 scoops in it, so we go through them about 3 weeks. It's pretty bad, man. Like I have one.
It's an addiction.
It is like I'll have one as soon as I wake up.
Let's have a family. We'll have a chat. Okay.
Yeah. Literally, like I'll have like maybe like 3 or 4 a day. Like 4 is max. If
Of the fat burner?
Yeah.
Okay, that's too many.
it's dude. It's
I'm going to be your life coach now. Don't do it.
It's really good. Like, because when I first got into training in 2013, when I like first went to the gym, the first supplement I ever took was guava oxy shred.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, because I didn't realize what it was. It was just my friend Caden who just gave it to me.
Yeah.
And then 2 years ago, I was like, going through my flavors, and I'm like, oh, I haven't had guava before. I tried it, and I instantly remembered, like, oh, this is like the first supplement I ever had.
Yeah.
But mango is my favorite flavor. Like, mango is like the best.
Yeah.
It's really good. But
See if you can do. I'll give you a challenge only if you want it.
yeah.
See if you can do a fast off it for like, let's just say maybe two or so weeks or 3, and then after that, if you had it again, 1 scoop would be enough.
Okay.
It kind of buzzes. It's just like caffeine. If you have too much caffeine, it's probably better to cycle on and off. You'll realize later that it's actually, it's not how much you have. It's just the stimulant. It's just not as effective. So it's like alcohol when you have it. I only know it's because I'm experienced, one in fitness, but also alcohol.
Yeah.
Let's just say you drink beers quite often. It takes more than 1 beer to get drunk.
Yeah.
Like when you're maybe 18, or for those who are younger in high school, a couple of UDLs or a couple of beers would make you blind.
Yeah.
And it's not just your body weight. Obviously, that's science. But I meant you get so used to it that it then takes beers to shots, and then it takes beers, shots, wine or vodka or spirits at the end, or whiskey. And as soon as you went off alcohol for a bit, if you take 4 weeks off or something, you touch 1 beer, you kind of get a bit happier. That's most people.
Well, it's funny you say.
Same for fat burners.
It's funny you say that, because when I did my 1 year sober, and I did like a year and 2 months, a year or 3 months of no alcohol, not a drip of alcohol.
Yeah.
And I had like a really bad week. And I usually, like, if I'm like not feeling great, I'll go to gym, because gym just makes me feel good. But like, I had this really bad week, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have, because I like rum, like Bundy rum. I'm like, I'm just going to have 1 Bundy rum. And that hit me, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, because I was in bed, like, I was talking to Alicia, and I was just sipping, and I was like, I wasn't even finished with it, man. It hit me. I'm like, this is weird. Yeah. So it's funny you say that, like, when you go like a great deal of time without it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure. I definitely am. Only because when I fitness coach people, they weren't allowed to take fat burners, only because we had so many habits to install as the main one, but also just if they relied on it to lose weight. That's why.
Do you actually do you think that fat burners actually work?
No, that's a whole other chat. Only if you got 5 hours. 'Cause I know there's definitely a lot of my nutrition buddies and everyone will
say
talk
no
about this forever. I'm the same. I don't think fat burners are a stimulant like just to lose fat. There's like similar buzzes to caffeine, etc., in a fat burner that can make you trigger, and it might not be caffeine, but something that has the same effect.
Yeah.
So it's a mental thing, as well as also it just helps pump up your body.
Okay.
Whereas, to be honest, to lose weight, it's really easy. Eat less shit, train more. And then we always used to focus on why they're not doing it. And then we sort of figured that out, because like Tony Robbins and people like that say they're either avoiding pain or seeking pleasure in any decision we make. So for people who are obese, it's always food, or let's just say alcohol, food, as well as that. And there's heaps of reasons why, but they're eating too many calories and they're not burning enough.
Yeah.
So they're eating more than they can sort of burn off each day, and then you just put on weight.
Okay.
So fat burners are the same. They don't really work. If you actually just work, if you cut back your calories, you do it for a long amount of time while training to accelerate it, you'll get skinnier.
Yeah.
Like,
the fat burner's really not doing anything.
to be honest, but there's only a few supplements. Like I said, I haven't been in the fitness world for a few years, maybe a couple years properly now. But I'd just still say back when I was training, protein, there was a lot of stuff. Creatine, there's a lot of research on that, how that works. Yep. Then you're starting to push it. Magnesium was kind of one of the next ones. The rest of the supplements, a lot of fitness people that I spoke to that used to have arguments about this. Other than those 3, they did not give a shit about anything. Yeah. And for me, like I said, obesity was really simple, and we never used fat burner. And I coach people to lose over 40 kilos or so. So
that's pretty good though. Like I follow a lot of people on Instagram, and they're not against supplements. They just don't take it. Like, and I'm like, protein powder, creatine, like, don't take any of that. They're all just like, they get all like their protein, they'll get it from their fruit, which I think is like, yeah, it's probably a good idea, because you really don't know what people are putting, well, these companies are putting in this stuff these days.
Yeah. And to be honest, the protein, the only reason I ever had protein shakes, and I still wouldn't mind them now, is just because of the convenience that you can have X amount of proteins from a shake. Let's just say you get 21 grams or 23 per scoop, usually, say a 30-gram whey protein shake. Instead of eating, 150, 250 grams of meat, that's just the only reason that you'd probably have a protein shake. It's because it's quicker. Yeah. But then it's soft and it just lacks vitamins, etc. And all I know is that if you start having one that's lacking vitamins, then you have to take vitamins from somewhere. And then before you know it, you're spending more on supplements than you are on rent.
No, seriously. Well, OxyStrod's like $70 and it's like,
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. And like, it's funny you mentioned about like, we talking about like protein, because back in 2016 when I first moved to Brisbane, I was like fairly fit, but I was skinny. Like I had a bit of muscle, but I really just wanted to put on weight. And there was this protein, I can't remember the brand, but it was like 2070. I remember the logo. And it was like literally just nothing but calories. And I had that and I put on 20 kilograms of just.
And that's what you wanted though, yeah? You wanted to put on weight?
Yeah, but it was just fat. Cause that was weird. That was a weird period my first year here in Brisbane, cause I only went to gym a handful of times. So I wasn't working out. So it was literally was fat like that I was putting on. But like, it's just funny that like I put on that much just from this powder. Like what the fuck is in this? You know what I mean?
It was just calories. But to be honest, it's like anything. It's like videos. It's like anything. If it claims it can happen so quick, it's probably not true. Yeah. That's one sort of principle I go off. In Mastery, I read Robert Greene's book and like people like that. It says the 10,000 hour rule. And so it's just like anything. Life's a marathon, not a sprint. So to put on weight, if you want it to be muscle, it just takes years. It takes cycles, everything. And if it's a supplement promising it, I can tell you now. I only know because I was in the world for so long that it's probably too good to be true. It's too good to be true. I was just very lucky because when I played sport from 15, I signed a contract with an NRL team, so we had the piss test from a little age just to make sure we're fresh. So I never ever went down that alley only because I got lucky. It was a blessing. Who knows if I didn't play sport properly, maybe I wouldn't have been able.
So what's the NRL story? I didn't even know about that.
So I just got really lucky playing sport, man. Like I said, I picked things up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I played for a couple of good teams. And this high school I went to, Redcliffe High, was rugby league was a subject. I wasn't even in it originally because my mum said, no, you have to do well at school. So I didn't get into the program until grade 9. But my sister did soccer there. And then I just played a couple of good games. And before you know it, I signed a contract with a NRL club, Parramatta Eels, and played 18s, 20s for them. And I just got so many injuries that footy wasn't. I was about to say,
was this how you broke your leg or something like that?
Yeah, I broke my leg in league, but that was when I was about 20.
Okay.
But even when I came back, I signed to Redcliffe after that. So I had a broken leg. I just rehabbed and a screw had snapped. So I needed another surgery. And then when I came back for Redcliffe, I played on the wing for the second grade, not Q Cup, the one under it. And then I played in the centres. And then there's like, yeah, sweet. The coach comes up to me, goes, if you play, like, as long as you keep doing what you're doing, we'll play your cup next week. And sweet. So, but in the second game, I palmed someone so hard that my own knuckle twisted around.
Oh my God.
And they strapped it up, played the rest of the game. But turns out I had a surgery here and more pins in my knuckle. And I was like, maybe footy's not for me, man. So
take that as a sign.
So that was another year I was just out. And then when I was in rehab all the time, man, I got addicted to podcasts, books, and luckily I just kept doing it. And even the PT side, because I had my certs, I was more in the coaching and learning. And that's why I kind of steered away from football. It's one of those things you can't half do. If you want to play footy properly, it's got to be your life, man.
Yeah.
You live and breathe it. The footy players I know, they're crazy, like into it. And I respect and love them because of that.
Yeah.
But for me, when I started getting injured so much, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. I'm not like 100% big into football, but like the only football that, and this is going to sound really bad, the only football that I really watch is State of Origin.
Oh yeah.
And I remember like towards the end of Jonathan Thurston's career, like I remember there was that period where like, I think he was out for the second last game of his career. And because he was just broken, he was just damaged. And he rocked up to his last ever game for like that team that he was playing with. He had like a sling and like he just couldn't keep going on. It's just like an insane, just how much damage people take in this industry.
I respect, because I played reps. I played for Queensland. I even lucky enough to get in a couple of teams. We went overseas in grade 12 to play in like Europe, England, France, Wales. I did an Asia tour for Union. But a lot of my buddies who I played with then, they're all playing NRL now. And I just respect them so much, because to not be hurt all the time, and it's such a hard thing to get into. It's just the whole lifestyle. And like I said, man, I'd probably get hurt again if I played. So that's a type. But I like watching it. I'm a good professional cheerer that thinks he knows everything, and that's me.
Other than the gym, do you play any sports these days, or are you just like purely just working out?
No, just all video. Video.
Oh, video.
For me,
okay.
Enough. You know what it's like to hold a gimbal for a full day.
Oh, that's no.
That's my only workout.
Especially when you're like a field monitor and you got everything going on. It's yeah. Like, how do you keep motivated with building the business and scaling it?
For me, it's really just having a vision of what I want one day. It sounds so corny, but have you heard of Simon Sinek?
Yes.
Great book. Start with Why. And for me, it was always I've wanted to own my own business one day. And I said I'm going to do it in my 30s. I realize I'm 29 now, so I better get moving.
Yeah.
But I want to have that. So one day, because I do want kids, and if I'm too old by the time I can afford it, I'll probably adopt them. Like, that's how much I love hanging out with kids. I want to have kids, a family, but I want to be able to support them with a business and a vision one day, that because that's what my why is. Like, you know, like being able to do that. And we know that kids' life costs money these days. And that's why I've always wanted to have my own, and just to do things like that and have a business that functions without me. If I just keep that big goal there, I can head towards it. That's what I always just get up and I'm like, I remind myself that that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Unless I do some work, it's not going to happen, dude.
Well, that's like Casey Neistat has said in a video that he did. He was like where he is now and where he wants to be. The only thing between that is like just a bunch of work.
Yeah. And it's like Nike's slogan, just do it.
Yeah, literally. Like I'm like that like the Casey is saying. Like I look at what I don't have and it's like, okay, well I want to have this, but I got to work, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. And one lesson I did learn though is that like life is like a journey where you got to have little wins and milestones, but it's until you're dead, it's never ending sort of thing. And you just got to keep going. So that's it. Like, why do you get up each day? And then I had even now, like I said, I bullet journal. Sometimes I just do simple things like write my 3 points of gratitude, remind myself why I'm doing what I do, just to stay mentally strong, because otherwise, like, there's no motivation to do it.
Yeah. Are you in the mindset of like wanting to retire in your 30s and live in your 40s and 50s?
Not. No. I want to,
because I've seen a lot of people who are like that. They're like, I want to retire by 35 and then live
not.
my...
Mine's the opposite. I'm actually going to start working properly in my 30s. That's
all right. Okay.
For me. Actually, I was talking to Squirt the other day, this dude I know, Andrew, one of my old bosses. But there's phases in life. For me, up till my 20s and through that, it's really just been trying to learn. And because I don't have a uni degree or anything like that. I just read a bucketload of books and I learn from experience. It's been really just trying to learn what I want to do. And now I've got more clarity of what I want to do. My 30s is launching it and getting it going, man, because it's never going to end. And then when I'm in my 40s, I want to be able to have that business run without me. So that's like a 10-year thing, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's pretty far away.
Yeah, so in my 40s, I want it to run without me and maybe have multiple. Let's just say I do video, but Amazon started as just books and then it kind of sold other things. And that's what I mean. So maybe it's just video. Maybe I start selling some photos or start doing some website design or logos, whatever. It doesn't matter. Then have that going so that in my 50s, I can kind of like take a step back and enjoy everything like a little bit. But I've got the personality. When I start something, I just want to keep doing it, dude.
Yeah. Do you wish that you kind of like started on this business a little bit earlier in your life? Or are you glad you went through your different phases?
100%. Yeah, because to be like, I mean, all due respect to everyone who's doing a business now, but the E-Myth is what taught me that, you know, being an entrepreneur, it's a bit different when you have your own bakery that you have to run and function without you. I wouldn't have learnt this stuff if I started really, really young. So even when I was in Bowen and I ran a gym, I had that for at least maybe 2 or so years. Without me there, it didn't work. So it was a job anyway. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I've learnt lessons along the way and there's no regrets that way. I feel like Ray Dalio's quote, it's pain plus reflection equals progress. And I like when I do things, I write down because I can't remember. And then I just try to be better later on. And if I didn't study and if I didn't take experiences and learn, I don't think I would have the brain where I'm at now. And I promise you, when I'm 10 years from now, I'm going to look and call myself an idiot now.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like that's fair. That's cool, dude. Like I feel like that's me as well. Like I wish I started years ago. And this is like, I don't know if we're running a bit over time here, but like one of the things that I mentioned to you when we met at Chermside the other day, because for everyone who doesn't know, like I met you at Chermside met you in person.
Probably,
for the first time, but you and I have been speaking for years. And one of the funniest thing was like when I first started to get into videography and actually think, okay, this is something that I enjoy, this is something I want to do, was in 2018. And I just finished actually doing like videography for this dude, and it just wasn't working out, and had to quit and like get back into the fast food industry. And I saw you were in Collinsville, or you're filming something, and like I thought it was just so funny that you're in Collinsville and you're a videographer, so I reached out to you.
Yeah.
And I think you gave me some advice then as well, but like I think that's really interesting. That was like, as I'm like starting to go into this career, like you were like there to like kind of like giving you some advice. So I think that was really cool. But I wish that I started years ago. Like but you know, it was a learning curve, like to know what to do and what not to do and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, even for me, Jordan Peterson's book, I love that, his book, man, 12 Rules for Life. I learnt that in life, it's compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. And so I've just tried to always get better that way.
Yep.
And then it's just like I said, I just keep progressing and then I'm happy. That's all I care about is getting better. And I don't ever look back in a bad way because there's a lot of things I would have done different, but would I be where I am if I didn't do the wrong ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. But yeah, I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, 100%. But dude, you're like motivating as fuck. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have you on again. I'm sure this, to be honest with you, this is probably the most value podcast that I've done. This is like the sixth one I've done, but like this is like the one that I've gotten the most value out of.
Thanks,
like,
dude.
and I'm hoping everyone who's listening or watching this has gotten a lot of value out of you. And yeah, do you want to like plug your business and stuff like that? Do you want to say what you're doing, like the name of the business?
Yeah, for sure. So just find me on Instagram. It's just Josh BATALIBASI. Look it up. You'll find all my links to the business, everything. But I'm like how Gary Vee does. I'm just operating under my name and I've got my business there as well. But all my channels and everything's just my name. So just look it up.
Sweet. Well, all the best, man. Thank you very much for coming on.
Found it, bro.
We will definitely be chatting again soon. And thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, we're back. Sweet. Cool.
Thanks
Talk
for
to you
having me,
soon.
dude.
Bye.
Thanks, bro.